looks pretty wide open, which seems pretty heckin' dangerous. Please go away. Okay. You are dangerous. Okay, you are not that hard to stagger, though, so the knives are working well. Now we need to find... You dissolved into dust. Let's unpack that in a moment. That was some sort of wraith creature. Yeah, let's take a look at you without any being shot at. You have a shotel, which is outside of normal for this time period. Shotel were... Well, outside of region as well. Shotel were used, assuming this is, just on the assumption that this is supposed to be fantasy London. Shotel were more popular much further to the southeast. And it looked like you came up out of a grave, so maybe this is a grave for... for foreign people? Can I actually rally off you? A little bit, okay. And then you dissolve into dust when you die. Oh, what do you drop? What do you drop? What do we have? Okay, here we are. Cursed, dirty, bloodstone gem. A blood gem that fortifies weapons and adds various properties. The sickly spots are indicative of a curse. Okay, so they were cursed before they died. But this gem's malicious effects are perfect for... Yeah, okay. Triangular gems. What does it actually do? Oh, adds poison. Ooh, rapid poison. Actually, that sounds really useful. We might put that onto our knife later. Also, they didn't have blood. Let's pause and unpack that for a moment, because they didn't have any blood. They exploded into dust. Which, I mean... immediately that sounds fine, you know? Like, oh my gosh! Oh, we got just absolutely demolished. Okay. Well, it's not hard to get back here. Okay, so if they don't have... The reason I'm making a big note of them not having blood is because we could still rally off them. My interpretation before was that rally comes from soaking in the blood that you draw off the enemies. So, you take damage, and we know that blood heals us, so when you attack an enemy and deal damage, you are recovering health because of the blood that you are drawing. But we were actually recovering health even though we weren't doing damage, which is interesting and noteworthy. So we can rally off of a creature that doesn't have blood. And that feels significant. I don't know why that's significant, but it definitely feels significant. But what are these? Cold blood? Cold blood? Are these... Oh, bone marrow ash. Huh. What's the description? Okay, so what are you? You... There we are. You're in a robe, and I see your fingers. Okay, bone. So you are dead and dead for a long time. What about the others? That we just... Oh, you're the same. Okay, so that's not... that one's not different. You just all died. You died sitting next to graves. But we also know that they weren't still tilling graves. They weren't still... yeah, they weren't still burying people. They were just leaving them to die and leaving them in the streets. So these people went to the graves probably to die next to their loved ones, is my guess. They went to the graves to die next to the people they cared about. And most of them turned into cold blood. Their blood congealed. Hello. Okay. And our hand was full of dust when it came out. Our hand was not full of anything else. It was just full of dust. Is that cold blood? Yeah, you're very spooky. So, here's the question. Is that dust cold blood? Because we know that we know that blood can take the form of this thick cold blood. A strong will produces thick blood. So was that actually blood? Was that powdered blood? Was that somebody whose blood did congeal into cold blood, but was still, I'm not going to say alive, but was still animated? That could be. That could be that could be a thing. That could be why we were able to rally off them, because it was blood. It just wasn't liquid blood. Because we know that cold blood is a thing from people who have strong wills. Okay. So then, what did we learn in this area? We learned that people were still dying, but they knew that they were dying, which isn't hard with a plague going on. So they went to the graves of their loved ones to pass away next to them. We learned that some of these undead are coming back to life and are heckin' angry. And we learned that they had a strong will, right? Because it takes a strong will to congeal your blood into cold blood. We know it's blood because we can rally off it. Okay. So that's very, very, very interesting. Wow. That's so much. That's so much lore from what is just a little forest area. That's so important. Yeah, you are rising out of the ground. You are coming out of a grave. And you shake. And you are easily staggered, which is not plot important, but... was our hat bloody before we attacked them? Probably. Our hats tend to be pretty bloody in general. Ah. So rather than just standing idle like a lot of enemies that we've seen, these folk are just having a good old time. I mean, they still are holding cleavers and torches, which is usually indicative of somebody who is, you know, mad, but they look like the fun kind of mad, you know? They're the kind of mad where they're prancing around and smiling. Oh, how great would it be if they were non-aggressive? How great would it be if they were just like, hey, we're reveling in something. Come join us. Because there would be people like that, right? There'd be people who would revel in, and take the hunt as a time of joy. Yeah, that doesn't look like they're aggressive. Oh, that's delightful. Bloodshot eyeball. I think we've gotten one of those before, but let's take a look at it again. You have a red-hot poker. I don't like it. Okay, okay, yeah, we have a couple of these, actually. Okay, so they're just hanging around, dancing, and with a bunch of eyeballs on hand, just, you know, just in case they needed them. Usually, leather tanners and meat processors were outside of the city. Like, leather tanners and meat processing was done far away, and those were seen as unclean jobs because of, well, because of early miasma theory, as well as because of the stink that they created, as well as the fact that you were working with death. Which means, and yep, our skyline more or less confirms it, that we are actually outside of the city now. With the cathedral being over there, and the passage that we went through, being some sort of some sort of hole in the outer walls, in the outer fortifications. We definitely have some other loose buildings here, but that would be closer to the medieval equivalent of suburbs. Yes, and the blood involved in processing meat and leather. Okay, so we are actually outside the city, which is neat, because I didn't think we were I thought the entire game was going to take place in the city. Which makes us wonder, is this, I thought the Night of the Hunt was only something that happened in the city. Yes, when you heat metal it does weaken it, but it also makes the weapon more dangerous, and in the short term, sometimes people care more about having a dangerous weapon than they do about, you know, the long-term quality of the metals that they're working with. Just sticking it in a fire for a little while, especially if you're facing something that... Actually, no, yeah, you know what? Let's parse that out. Let's parse that out. So if you are attacking with a weapon that is designed, and you are attacking things with blood, and you don't want the blood on you, because of the fear of cursed blood, which we know that many of the civilians have. We know that many of the civilians fear cursed blood. So a weapon that is red hot would cauterize any wounds that you make, right? So maybe they're using a hot weapon specifically because they don't want to be covered in what they believe to be cursed blood. Oh, that's a dog. That's a dog. Oh, dog. Please don't be as much of a dog. So the nobles have access to healing transfusions of blood. And the peasants believe that the blood is cursed, so they think, which might also just be a class thing of them thinking that blood is cursed. Because we have had people tell us that we are cursed, and that we've heard them say that the blood is cursed. But the blood, we know the blood works miracles for healing. So we can't take that, we can't take the peasant's word at face value. But this is what we came here for, and it's Madman's Knowledge. Okay. Not the most... Okay. Actually, that's the second Madman's Knowledge we've found in this region, and if Madman's Knowledge does indicate knowledge of the Eldritch, knowledge of the Amygdala, which we're assuming is Eldritch at this point, then why are there multiple Madman's Knowledges here? Oh, hey, there's also one of those things. I'm not going to go for that one. It seems prudent to be safe until I know this area better. Hello? Would you like to attack me? Are you? Are you passive? Are you friendly? Nope, you're not. Okay. Heck. Dodge, get out. Heck, no, get out, I need to heal. There we go. That's a really neat enemy. I like that enemy. It's tough to deal with, but not impossible to deal with. Another bloodshot eyeball. That's not just a chalice. I mean, it is just a chalice ritual item, but it's also relevant to know that people here have a bunch of eyeballs. Like, that must be a folk remedy. That must be a... You know what? Okay, there's my read. There's a folk remedy, or a cure, maybe even for this blood plague thing, that involves eyeballs. That would explain a lot, because they are here in the peasant areas, but not in the inner city areas. So people around the lower class of people, the leather workers and the people who live out in the smokehouses, leather workers, meat processors, usually are the more, let's say, folksy, the lower classes of people, the less rich. And rather than hoarding blood, they are hoarding eyeballs? It doesn't actually say that if it's a human eyeball. It doesn't actually say what kind of eyeball it is, right? An exquisite eyeball removed quickly after death, or perhaps even before. Oh, nope, no idea. So the folk medicine, the individual people believe that eyeballs are a form of medicine, presumably. And then the upper class and the city folk believe entirely in the blood transfusions and carry blood transfusions on them. None of these, very few of these enemies have had blood on them. And again, finding blood on an enemy does not mean that it is that they're carrying vials. It can mean that we are taking samples of blood from them. We know that because of the boar. Otherwise, the boar wouldn't have dropped 6 blood vials. Or possibly a charm against the cursed blood. That actually makes a lot more sense, because the eyeballs are not consumable. That is a very good read. So, if they believe that these are a charm against the curse, a wide open passage with some scythe, some of those big heavy executioners, leading up to that little passage, which leads over to that area, which is going to be something interesting. It's going to be something significant, but it's something that's outside of the city. So it's got to be something that's politically or ideologically separated from the workings of the city itself, but something that's important enough and, well, wealthy enough, frankly, to have the resources to build their own building over there. Which is interesting. There's not a lot of things that could fit that. Is that going to be another academy? Is that going to be another Bergenworth-style academy? Could be. That would make sense, right? What else could it be? It could be an outpost, but it doesn't really look like a military building. Oh, look at the size of that. Look at that. It's beautiful. The turrets. There is a possibility this is a fort. This is a military fort outpost, but it seems... That doesn't seem right. Something about it doesn't make that feel like it's wrong. Oh, then again, this doesn't look too unlike a barracks. Those are all body bags. So this could be a hospital? That one was mad. That's just a big old stack of body bags. Okay, so that's just a stack of... Anything above me? I should be worried about jumping down or something. Okay. Yep, just, you know, this looks like a hospital. Now, a medical building, a hospital, would usually be inside of the city, especially if it's this big. Or are we still in the... Which does actually make me think this is a barracks. So I think this is barracks. I'm going with this being a barracks. Whoa! Oh, that's really neat. Okay. What is... I mean, this could be a boss room, too. That's why I'm not going in any further. That's a different deity. That's a different religious figure. That's going to be important. I've got to investigate that. So, what is this place? There's a whole bunch of suspended corpses, which is interesting. So, before we had a leather tanners and a meat packers area, and now we have an area with suspended human corpses. So, it implies that they're treating humans as chattel, as they're treating humans as being the same as the beasts. Ooh, as the beasts. Oh, is there a parallel there? Ah. What is that over there? We have someone lying in a chair being stood over by what appears to be a priestess, just based on the iconography and the style that they're looking at there. And it's a priestess with long hair and a headscarf, which is actually something we haven't seen before. We haven't seen somebody who meets that image. I mean, Vicar Amelia did, but that wasn't anybody in iconography. That wasn't anybody in a statue or a painting or anything. We haven't really seen any paintings now that I think about it. Huh. I mean, I guess they'd probably be deteriorated like the tapestries we have here. Which I'll look at the tapestries in a moment. First of all, to the side, looks just like a acolyte leaning back in either pain or exaltation. And over here... What up? Oh, that was me. Over here we have another. That one appears to have long hair. Okay, so we have a male... No, it's the same... Okay, so we have two female acolytes leaning back. I think. Long hair is the thing like females, right? I think so. It's hard to tell, like, gender when you can't see the color of the hair, though. Okay, so... What about over here? What about these... Here we have these roots that are taking over the stone. We had an earlier section of the game where the stone itself was growing. And these roots don't seem natural. I mean, trees don't usually do that. And we haven't actually seen any trees around here. But is that the one corner? Okay, that's just in the one corner. But there is a spotlight on it, so it's obviously supposed to be highlighted. Interesting. Now let's take a look at a tapestry up close. Oh, what's in here? Okay, that's just stacks of... Okay, that's just stacks of bodies being prepared for whatever it is that they are going to do for them here. This is where we came from, yes? Yes. So this is where bodies are stacked before they go into the next section to be processed. But what does it mean to be processed here? Oh. What do we have here? Okay, so this is a little workshop area. Like, I see the big thing in the center, but I'm more interested in the lore, so let's take a look around. We have a little workshop area here. Various disemboweling and embalming tools. So this is definitely a place for processing the dead. I wish I could pick up these books and read them. Oh, they'd probably be in some weird language, like... yeah. Some candles, which would be similar. Now, what do we have here? Oh, that's a hunter! Oh, gosh! Rune Workshop Tool. Okay. This hunter was tied to a chair. Can we learn anything else about them? Not really. Oh, okay, so they've been dead for a while. We can't really tell anything else specific. Rune Workshop Tool. So that's going to be a workshop tool to go back in the... Okay, that's going to be another treasure back to be in the workshop where we do our weapon upgrades. Oh, runes! Maybe that's for the Carol runes that we've been finding. So maybe that's Carol. But why would the Rune Workshop tool... Okay, let's check the description of that. Okay. Where is that? Okay. Rune Workshop Tool. Yes! Wait a minute. Enables etching Carol runes into one's consciousness. Okay, that sounds a little bit intense. Runesmith Carol, student of Bergenworth, transcribed the inhuman utterings of the Great Ones into what are now called Carol runes. The hunter who retrieves this workshop tool can etch Carol runes into the mind to attain their wondrous strength. Provost Willem would have been proud of Carol's runes, as they do not rely upon blood in any measure. Oh, so this is someone who doesn't rely on blood in any measure, which is itself unique. So inscribes them into... Inscribes them into one's consciousness. Inscribes inhuman utterings of the Great Ones into one's consciousness. So this... Obviously, this is what they were working on in Bergenworth. So, what does that mean for what we know of Bergenworth? Bergenworth was working on something involving the Great Ones. We figured that much out based on what we saw. So the Great Ones' utterings, they found a way to transcribe them. Interesting. Okay. We might have to go back to Bergenworth with that knowledge. So that wouldn't be Carol, that would be a hunter who has also been to Bergenworth like us. Because the last time we were in the Nightmare area, there was a boss that we couldn't beat. I mean, well, we ended up beating it, but it ended up taking, like, what, 45 minutes of the stream? And we could... That was, honestly, not my smartest move, because we could have come back later. We could have come back with, once we had the proper levels and gear. But I was being stubborn, and you guys were here for it, so really, who's to blame?